Hi everybody. In this video I'm going to review one octave major scales, and just to remind you, the pattern were based off of your pentascales that you learned earlier this semester. Whole, whole, half whole. That was simply, if you started on C, it ended up being 5 white keys: a whole step to D, whole step to E, half step, and a whole step. So that was the beginning of our major scale pattern, but now we're going to expand it over one octave. So the rest of our pattern is, besides whole, whole, half, whole, we're going to add on another whole step, another whole step, and a half step. So 2 wholes and a half, 3 wholes and a half. And I'm going to start this on C. And I'll go over the fingering very slowly in this video too, because we need to work and incorporate some crossings. So the entire major scale pattern starting on C: whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, and half step. Okay, and we start with C because it happens to be all white keys. You don't have to worry about any sharps or any flats for this particular scale. And again, the fingering for the right hand, if you watched, you start with your thumb, second finger, third finger, and then you cross underneath: thumb, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Back down is the same: 4, 3, 2, 1. Crossover with 3, 2, 1. Here's the entire scale again on C. We have 1, 2, 3, cross under, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Back down, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cross over, 3, 2, 1. Now with your left hand, the fingering is a little different. You're going to use all 5 fingers first, starting with your 5th finger on C. And then you're going to cross over with finger number 3. So here's the C scale for the left hand. Finger number 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Crossover with 3, 2, and 1. Back down is 2, 3. Cross under, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And notice as I'm crossing, I'm not shifting my whole hand up suddenly, but I'm simply crossing over with that finger and then moving my hand accordingly. You want to make sure that you're keeping a nice even beat, and then you're also keeping a nice even tone. Make sure you're not skipping over any fingers. Make sure that you are not breaking up the sound of the scale as you go note by note. So to review, I'm going to put both hands together, even though you might still be working on hands separately. You can watch the fingerings for both hands on the C scale. As you're learning these scales, make sure you're comfortable with hands separate first, because obviously when you put hands together, you're going to be crossing at different times. So make sure you're comfortable with where each hand crosses on its own before you attempt hands together. Let's move on to our next scale in order. We're going to go to the scale of G. And we're learning these in a certain order because we're adding on 1 sharp at a time first. The key of G major has 1 sharp. If we follow our pattern on G: whole step, whole step, half step, whole, 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 half. Back down. So notice that instead of all white keys, we added on 1 black key. We added on F sharp in this case. The fingering was the same. For most of these white key scales, the fingering will be identical. So again, here's the G scale on 1, 2, 3, cross, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the F sharp and G. Back down. You cross, 3, 2, 1. And the left hand is the same notes, starting again on the 5th finger. We're going to use all 5 fingers first and then cross with 3. Here's the G scale for the left hand. this section. That is the scale of D with 2 sharps. We're going to keep that F sharp we had in the scale for G, and we're going to add on 1 more sharp, F sharp and C sharp. And again, the fingering for this one is normal. So starting on D, here's your pattern. Whole step, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Back down. So we ended up on, again, F sharp and C sharp. The fingering was the same as normal for D. The left hand, again, normal fingering. Start with all 5 fingers first, and as you're working your way through these scales, not only should you be looking for the right fingerings and the right notes, but listen to your scale carefully. Make sure you're actually playing a nice clean scale. If you are accidentally holding notes more than 1 note at a time, you'll hear a cluster of sounds. You want to keep the scale nice and clean. Just concentrate on striking 1 key at a time and releasing the note as soon as you play the next one. So you get a nice, clean, even tone throughout the scale.